In today's video on America's Backroads, we're going to be visiting Fall River, Massachusetts, and maybe some other small towns along the way. Before we head off to Fall River, though, I wanted to show you something really cool about this Ford, and it's something pretty important for any of you looking to get a vintage car, or even just a used car in general. So let's take a look under the hood at something really quick. One of the things to look for when buying a vintage used car, or really any car for that matter, is the quality of the oil. Back in the day, they would have used non-detergent oil, which, if not replaced in some time, will eventually turn to sludge. So if you find sludge in the bottom in your oil tank, you will know that the oil hasn't been changed out for a very long time. In addition, these cars, like I said, didn't use detergent oil. They used non-detergent oil. So if you take detergent oil and put it in a vehicle like this, it'll break up the sludge and cause problems, and many people believe it's better to simply run non-detergent oil in these vehicles than it is to run detergent oil to begin with. So let's check out the oil on this 1935 Ford and see what kind of condition it is in. Got your oil stick here. We can take a look at the oil here. So there you have it. Pretty clean. Definitely not sludgy. Very clean, very clear, very good. So that's the kind of thing you'd want to see. Now that we've talked about oil quality, let's talk a little bit about Fall River. I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day, and he recommended going to Fall River. There's a number of interesting things about Fall River. A few other people in Massachusetts have told me to visit Fall River too, for other reasons, but the reason my friend told me is that it's actually quite interesting. Some of the history of Fall River is that folks from the Azores actually came over here in the 19th century, sailors and people like that, and I think millers as well, and they came to Fall River into the bay, and because of this, and because they stayed here and they made families here and they really like this area, Fall River is one of the very few, if not the only places in the United States where about 50% of the population's first language is actually Portuguese. Isn't that neat? And then there's also a large population of Cambodian people in Fall River too. So we're going to go to Fall River, check out some of the interesting stuff, maybe have some Portuguese or Cambodian food, maybe, I don't know, we'll see what we find. And also I've heard the seafood there's really good too, so maybe we'll have some of that. Just depends what we find, and we'll also see what other neat things we can find in Fall River. So let's head off to Fall River, let's start up the 1935 Ford, and head off on our way. While Fall River has a very rich and long history dating back to the early 1600s, one of the most famous, or perhaps more accurately infamous things that ever happened in Fall River was the axe murders of Lizzie Borden's parents in 1892. That's when she was tried and acquitted for the murders. No one else was charged, and she actually lived in Fall River, despite being ostracized by the whole community. She actually lived in Fall River until she died at the age of 66. So today I'm here in Fall River in front of the Lizzie Borden house, which is today a bed and breakfast. For about $300 you can actually stay overnight. They do ghost tours and things. Not exactly sure how the tours work, but I'm going to go in and try it out. It says on the sign to book a tour on their website, but I didn't realize I had to do that. So we're going to go in and see what's going on. There's a gift shop around back. We can take a look here at the Lizzie Borden house. This is the location of the infamous event. The house was built by Andrew J. Borden around 1845. If I remember right, Lizzie was born in 1860 sometime. And that's the house. And around back we have a little gift shop and things of that nature. We've got a stone foundation on the house. Got some little steps going up to the side. Oh, there's parking around back. And as it turns out, you cannot actually do video or audio in the Lizzie Borden Museum without, what's the word? Talking to the owners, I guess, beforehand. So, not sure why. I think it would be kind of cool to do a video here. But, nonetheless, I can't. So much for that. All you get to see is the outside. So we've already seen the outside of the Lizzie Borden house where the infamous event occurred, and because I couldn't go inside, I thought I might do something else instead. Now, I'm not the only person who's been looking for this. If you look behind me on the street, let me see, there's one behind me, I think, somewhere here. There one is. And back this way as well, you can see on the road there are arrows, and those arrows are leading to a particular person's gravestone, and we all know who that person is. So we're going to be coming here and taking a look at this. Maybe it's a little controversial, I'm not sure. Let me guys know what you think, but I thought it might be kind of interesting to come check this out, mostly because I couldn't get into the house and do a cool video for you all there. So we'll come here and take a look at this, and I'm not the only person to come here, so let's come here and check this out. So over here, you have a whole bunch of graves marked for the Borden family. You've got B. Wilmarth, the wife of Abraham B. Borden, and all of these are Borden families. You've got Abraham Bowen Borden from 1798 to 1882. The Borden family goes way back. If I remember right, I think they owned mills back in the 1700s and 1800s, and the name just kind of continued on and was a big name here in Fall River. You have A.J. Borden, which is this large stone here. And then we have a few of them here. I believe that the parents of Lizzie Borden, of course, the ones who she, did away with, allegedly, they are buried here, as well as the infamous Lizzie Borden herself, and her grave is right over here. She lies next to her sister Emma, who I believe passed away just a couple of days after or before Lizzie Borden did, and this is her grave here. Now, as I said earlier on in the video, despite being basically ostracized from the community, she continued to live in Fall River until the age of 66, and this is where she is. People tend to leave little trinkets, little pennies, little pebbles, shells. You've even got a quarter, and then a little wooden sign that says Lizzie Borden 2021 with hearts. I believe that they ran a TV show on some network talking about Lizzie Borden and kind of dramatizing the events of what happened. And I think that kind of sparked some interest in Lizzie Borden's grave and her life and all that. Then you've also got Emma, who was not forgotten either. We have some little shells and trinkets there too. So that's kind of all there is, but I just kind of want to talk about the cemetery that we're in. It's called the Oak Grove Cemetery, and there is in fact a oak grove of trees, or an oak grove. And we visited several other cemeteries along the way. We visited some really historic ones in Boston on the Freedom Trail, which you may have seen. And those cemeteries, first of all, were a lot smaller than this cemetery. I had originally thought I could just come in here, waltz in, and find the grave that I want to talk about, and on foot, and that definitely would not happen. This place is massive. It is absolutely huge. But even more than that, like, the other graves and cemeteries that we visited weren't really creepy. Most of them are really beautiful. This one's a little creepy. It's a little creepy. When I'm standing under this tree, I can smell the smell of decay and fungus, which is kind of odd to smell on a hot summer's day. And it's very, very interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed the interesting tour of Fall River and this pretty beautiful cemetery. Our next stop is going to be Providence, Rhode Island, the smallest state in the entire United States of America, and hopefully we're going to find some pretty cool things to check out there. So in the meantime, stay tuned. I'll see you on the road in the next video, and we will be back at ya in Rhode Island.